Cedar is a great choice for building a fence because it's naturally resistant to decay. And with a few simple pointers, you can build one yourself. If you're taking out an old fence, a lot of times the old cedar is still in good shape, even though it looks gray, might be rotten on each end, but the reality is, see that? It's still in excellent shape, so save it and use it for other projects. And we've started to put the new fence together. We've got our posts in, we've got our bracing on, and now it's just a matter of completing the project. We've already started doing some things on this fence, but I want to take a moment to point out a couple of things. I've got an upper string line and a lower string line. Now, that's going to locate this surface of the post all the way down the line. And I also like to locate my posts sort of an equidistant, within the span. Once I know where my posts are going to go, I like to dig my holes. These holes are down approximately 2 feet, and then we simply dug our holes where we wanted them located, and we put our concrete in there. We like to slope the top of the concrete before it dries so that the water can slope away from the post. The next thing for us to do is to put in our rails. And I'm going to start with the bottom rail, which I like to put a little bit into the soil. We're going to do that next. Okay, so one of the things to bear in mind here is that these are cut green, which means there's a high level of moisture still in all of this wood, and so it's going to shrink. So when we install these, I like to install them really tight because you will eventually have gaps in between the pieces when you're using a green material like this. So if you don't want gaps, you're either gonna have to dry the material out first or buy material that's already dry. One of the important factors though as I go along, what I like to do is I like to double check with the level because I want these boards to be plumb so that when I get to the other end, I'm not ending up with a weird wedge or something like that because that's plumb on that end. So I'm just checking as I go. I'm a little out of plumb right now, which means the bottom is going to have to move that way a little bit. So on each board for the next 3 or 4, I'm going to keep it tight at the top and a little bit loose on the bottom so that I can make that up a little bit so that I don't end up with a big gap at the bottom in one space. So we're working on our last piece right here. This is going to go in. Got a little ripper to do on the end, but really not much. Then the next step is to trim all the tops of these so it's a nice straight line. So what we're going to do is use a chalk line, and I'm going to go down to the other end, put a nail on that end right where I want it, which is about 1 inch above our top rail. And then once the line is snapped, then it's just a matter of cutting these off. Now, it's just a matter of getting out our skill saw and cutting those off. Cedar is one of my favorite woods to work with, and I'm sure that you will find the same as well. Have fun building your fence. I'm Daniel Westbrook. We'll talk to you soon.